There comes a moment in every human life when the greatest display of strength is not standing your ground, not winning the argument, not proving your worth, but quietly turning around and walking away. To the ordinary mind, this appears like surrender. Society has taught us that strength is measured by resistance, by confrontation, by the ability to dominate every conflict. Yet the Stoics understood something far deeper. They knew that many battles cost far more than they are worth, and the person who cannot leave them has already become their prisoner. Most people believe they possess freedom simply because no chains are visible. But look closely at the average life. One careless insult ruins an entire day. One rejection destroys confidence for months. One betrayal occupies every thought. One stranger's opinion dictates countless decisions. Is this freedom, or is it simply another form of slavery hidden beneath modern comforts? The Stoics believe that true slavery begins the moment another person gains control over your emotional state. If someone can provoke your anger at will, they control you. If they can lure you into endless arguments, they command your attention. If they can manipulate your need for approval, they own your peace. Every emotional reaction that escapes your control hands a piece of your life to someone else. This is why walking away is never merely physical. It is a declaration that your inner world cannot be purchased, manipulated, or conquered. It is the quiet announcement that your peace is no longer available for negotiation. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself repeatedly that people act according to what they believe is right, even when they are mistaken. Instead of exhausting himself trying to reshape every difficult person he encountered, he turned his attention inward. He understood that every moment spent obsessing over another person's flaws was a moment stolen from improving his own character. Imagine the burden he carried. As emperor, he ruled over millions, faced wars, betrayals, disease, political conspiracies, and endless criticism. Every decision was examined, every mistake amplified, every victory questioned. If anyone had reason to defend himself against every accusation, it was Marcus Aurelius. Yet his private writings reveal almost the opposite. Again and again, he reminded himself that another person's judgment could never define his virtue. Their opinions belonged to them. His responsibility belonged only to himself. This is where modern people often lose their way. Someone questions your abilities, and immediately you begin constructing arguments in your mind. Someone misunderstands your intentions, and you spend hours trying to explain yourself. Someone refuses to appreciate your efforts, and resentment quietly grows inside you. Without realizing it, your emotional life becomes dependent upon the reactions of people you cannot control. The Stoics would ask a simple question: why willingly hand your happiness to strangers? Walking away is not weakness, because it requires mastering something infinitely more difficult than defeating another person. It requires defeating your own ego. The ego desperately craves recognition. It whispers that every insult must be answered, every challenge accepted, every criticism corrected. It fears silence because silence cannot prove superiority. It fears departure because departure offers no applause. The ego wants victory that others can witness. Wisdom seeks something entirely different. Wisdom seeks freedom. There is an ancient image that perfectly captures this principle. Imagine holding a burning piece of coal because someone else threw it toward you. Your instinct tells you to throw it back immediately. You want them to feel the pain they attempted to give you. But while you hesitate, while you prepare your response, while you calculate the perfect revenge, who continues holding the burning coal? You do. Anger works exactly this way. Hatred works exactly this way. Resentment works exactly this way. The longer you refuse to walk away, the longer you become the first victim of the emotions you hoped to inflict upon someone else. The Stoics understood that revenge almost always extends suffering instead of ending it. Every act of retaliation invites another. Every argument breeds another argument. Every insult demands another insult. Soon neither side remembers how the conflict even began. Two people simply become servants to pride. How many friendships have ended because neither person was willing to leave the final word unsaid? How many families remained divided because someone believed walking away meant losing? How many careers have been damaged because one emotional response outweighed years of disciplined effort? Strength is often invisible precisely because it refuses to perform for an audience. The strongest person in the room is rarely the loudest. The strongest mind seldom needs to announce itself. It understands that truth does not become stronger through shouting, nor does character become greater through constant defense. Epictetus taught that if someone speaks badly of you and the accusation is true, improve yourself. If it is false, ignore it. Notice the extraordinary simplicity of this advice. There is no complicated strategy for managing criticism, because criticism itself does not deserve such power. Yet today's world profits from convincing you otherwise. Every notification competes for your attention. Every controversy invites your opinion. Every disagreement demands immediate reaction. Outrage has become entertainment. Constant engagement has become mistaken for importance. The result is millions of people who mistake emotional exhaustion for meaningful living. The Stoic refuses this invitation. He understands that attention is among the most valuable possessions a human being has. Once given away carelessly, it can never be recovered. Every hour spent replaying an insult is an hour never invested in wisdom. Every evening consumed by resentment is an evening stolen from peace. Every argument that continues inside your mind long after it has ended continues extracting a price that no one else is paying. This is why silence possesses extraordinary power. Silence unsettles those who seek conflict because it denies them the fuel they require. Many people do not desire understanding. They desire reaction. They measure their influence by their ability to disturb your emotions. When you refuse to participate, their power disappears instantly. Think carefully about this. Someone insults you expecting anger. Instead, you smile politely and continue walking. Who remains disturbed? Not you. The person who expected to control your emotions suddenly discovers they have failed. Walking away often says more than the cleverest argument ever could. It quietly communicates that your identity does not depend upon winning temporary battles. It reveals confidence without needing to announce confidence. It demonstrates self-control without demanding recognition. This form of strength cannot be imitated through performance because it emerges only after years of inner discipline. The Stoics trained themselves daily for exactly these moments. They imagined insults before hearing them. They reflected upon loss before experiencing it. They accepted uncertainty before misfortune arrived. This practice was never pessimism. It was preparation. A soldier who trains before battle appears calm when conflict begins because fear has already been examined. Likewise, the Stoic appears emotionally unshaken, not because life is easy, but because the mind has already rehearsed meeting difficulty with dignity. When adversity arrives unexpectedly, ordinary people panic because they believed peace depended upon favorable circumstances. The Stoic knows better. Peace is never created by circumstances. Peace is created by mastery of response. Consider how often people remain trapped in relationships that slowly destroy their spirit. They tolerate constant disrespect because they fear loneliness. They endure manipulation because they mistake endurance for loyalty. They sacrifice their dignity hoping another person will eventually change. The Stoics would never confuse patience with self-abandonment. Walking away from repeated disrespect is not cruelty. Walking away from manipulation is not selfishness. Walking away from environments that poison your character is often the highest form of responsibility. After all, how can you cultivate wisdom while constantly surrounded by chaos that demands your attention every waking moment? Your character is shaped not only by your choices, but also by the influences you repeatedly allow into your life. Every conversation leaves a mark. Every friendship teaches habits. Every environment rewards certain behaviors. If you remain where dishonesty is celebrated, integrity becomes exhausting. If you remain where gossip dominates every interaction, eventually silence begins feeling uncomfortable. If you remain where anger is normal, calmness starts appearing strange. Walking away protects far more than your emotions. It protects your character. And character, according to the Stoics, is the only possession that truly belongs to you. Everything else can disappear overnight. Money can vanish. Health can deteriorate. Status can collapse. Reputation can change with a single rumor. Power eventually leaves every ruler. Beauty fades from every face. Even the people we love cannot remain beside us forever. Only character accompanies you through every season of existence. So why would anyone sacrifice permanent character to preserve temporary approval? This question becomes even more important when we examine the hidden cost of proving ourselves. Many people spend decades chasing validation from individuals who have already decided never to offer it. Children become adults still trying to impress indifferent parents. Employees destroy their health seeking recognition from employers who barely notice their efforts. Friends betray their values hoping acceptance will finally arrive. The tragedy is not merely that validation never satisfies. The tragedy is that the pursuit itself slowly reshapes identity. Instead of asking, "What is right?" people begin asking, "What will they think?" Instead of pursuing virtue, they pursue applause. Instead of building character, they build performance. Eventually, they no longer remember who they are when nobody is watching. The Stoics warned against this invisible corruption because they understood that dependence upon external approval creates endless anxiety. If your worth depends upon praise, criticism becomes unbearable. If your peace depends upon acceptance, rejection becomes devastating. Walking away interrupts this dangerous cycle. It reminds you that your value existed before anyone recognized it. It reminds you that integrity requires no audience. It reminds you that the opinions surrounding you are temporary echoes, while your conscience remains a lifelong companion. Seneca once observed that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Few statements describe modern existence more accurately. People rehearse arguments that never happen. They fear conversations that never occur. They replay humiliations that everyone else has already forgotten. The prison exists almost entirely inside the mind. Walking away begins there first. Long before your feet carry you elsewhere, your thoughts must release their attachment. Otherwise, you may leave the room while carrying the conflict within you for years. True departure means abandoning the emotional chains alongside the physical location. It means refusing to let bitterness rent permanent space inside your memory. It means recognizing that every moment spent feeding resentment is another moment your own life remains on hold. There is profound courage in saying, "This no longer deserves my energy." Not because the wound never existed, not because injustice never occurred, but because your future deserves greater attention than your past. The Stoic understands that life is astonishingly brief. Every sunrise subtracts one more day from the total number we will ever receive. Knowing this, why squander precious years arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you? Why spend your limited existence trying to convince those determined not to listen? Why exhaust yourself carrying burdens that no longer belong to you? Walking away is not escaping life. It is choosing life. It is choosing clarity instead of confusion, purpose instead of distraction. Character instead of ego, peace instead of endless conflict. The world often celebrates those who conquer cities, accumulate fortunes, or dominate rivals. Yet history quietly reveals another truth. Many conquerors never conquered themselves. They possessed kingdoms while remaining servants to ambition, fear, vanity, and anger. The Stoics sought a different victory altogether. They sought mastery. over the only empire that truly matters, the kingdom within. In that kingdom, every temptation resisted becomes a triumph. Every unnecessary argument abandoned becomes a victory. Every insult ignored becomes evidence that your peace is no longer governed by another person's behavior, and every graceful departure becomes another stone laid in the foundation of an unshakable life. When you finally understand this, you stop asking whether walking away makes you appear weak. Instead, you begin asking a far more important question. Does remaining here strengthen my character or slowly destroy it? That single question has the power to transform every relationship, every conflict, every disappointment, and every crossroads you will ever face. Asterisk. If the answer is that remaining weakens your character, then the path becomes surprisingly clear, even if it is not easy. The Stoics never promised that the right decision would be comfortable. In fact, they expected virtue to demand sacrifice. They understood that almost every meaningful transformation begins with the willingness to endure temporary discomfort in exchange for lasting freedom. Walking away often hurts because it forces you to release illusions you have carried for years. Sometimes you're not leaving a person as much as you are leaving the version of the future you imagined with them. Sometimes you're not abandoning an opportunity but surrendering the fantasy that it alone could complete your life. Sometimes the greatest grief is not over what actually existed, but over what you hoped would one day exist. This is why detachment is so difficult. People imagine detachment means becoming cold, indifferent, or incapable of love. The Stoics believed nothing of the sort. They loved deeply. They served faithfully. They fulfilled their duties with extraordinary commitment. But they refused to confuse love with possession or commitment with dependence. They understood that everything outside their own character was ultimately temporary. You can love someone completely while accepting that they may leave. You can work passionately while accepting that success is never guaranteed. You can pursue excellence while accepting that recognition may never arrive. This is not pessimism. It is liberation. The person who expects permanence from an impermanent world will spend life in constant disappointment. The person who embraces change as part of nature discovers a stability that circumstances cannot steal. Nature itself teaches this lesson endlessly. The seasons never apologize for changing. Trees release their leaves without resistance. Rivers never cling to the water that has already passed. The sun never mourns yesterday's sunset before rising again. Everything alive understands movement except the human mind, which often clings desperately to what has already ended. The Stoics saw this attachment as one of the greatest causes of suffering. We resist reality instead of cooperating with it. We demand that people remain who they once were. We expect situations to stay comfortable forever. We cling to identities that no longer serve us. Then, when life inevitably changes, we call nature cruel instead of recognizing that change was always its language. Walking away is often an act of cooperating with reality. Reality may reveal that a friendship has become toxic. Reality may reveal that your efforts are no longer appreciated. Reality may reveal that certain environments continually draw out the worst parts of your character. The wise person does not argue with reality. The wise person responds to it. This is where amor fati, the Stoic practice of loving one's fate, becomes far more than an inspiring phrase. Most people tolerate adversity only because they believe they have no choice. The Stoic goes further. He welcomes adversity as raw material for becoming stronger. Imagine a blacksmith standing before a blazing forge. Every strike of the hammer appears violent. Every burst of fire appears destructive. Yet without heat and repeated impact, steel never becomes a sword. Character follows the same law. Every disappointment teaches detachment. Every betrayal teaches discernment. Every rejection teaches independence. Every ending teaches renewal. The obstacle itself becomes the instrument of growth. This is why those who constantly avoid pain often remain emotionally fragile. They spend their lives protecting comfort instead of building resilience. The smallest criticism feels unbearable because they have never practiced emotional endurance. The slightest inconvenience destroys their peace because they have mistaken comfort for strength. The Stoic deliberately trained against this weakness. He welcomed moments that tested patience. He accepted responsibilities that demanded discipline. He embraced silence when the ego demanded applause. He practiced restraint when revenge seemed easier. Every one of these decisions strengthened the inner foundation upon which an unshakable life is built. There is another truth that many people discover only after years of unnecessary suffering. You cannot save everyone. Some individuals are deeply committed to misunderstanding you. Others are committed to repeating destructive patterns. Some reject every sincere attempt at peace because conflict has become their identity. That many compassionate people exhaust themselves trying to rescue those who have no desire to change. They sacrifice sleep, peace, health, and joy, hoping that enough love will eventually transform another person's choices. The Stoics would ask a difficult question. Have you mistaken responsibility for control? You are responsible for your intentions. You are responsible for your actions. You are responsible for your integrity. You are not responsible for another person's willingness to grow. This distinction changes everything. Once you stop carrying responsibilities that never belonged to you, enormous emotional energy becomes available for your own development. You begin reading instead of arguing. You begin building instead of complaining. You begin creating instead of convincing. You begin living instead of endlessly reacting. This shift may appear subtle, yet it transforms the entire direction of a life. Consider how many remarkable achievements were built in silence while the world remained distracted by conflict. Great philosophers, scientists, artists, and leaders rarely spent their finest years defending themselves against every critic. They directed their attention toward mastery. Criticism eventually faded. Their work endured. The Stoics consistently emphasized that time is humanity's most irreplaceable resource. Money lost can often be earned again. Reputation damaged may eventually recover. Opportunities missed may reappear in different forms. Time never returns. Every unnecessary argument consumes minutes that could have become wisdom. Every grudge occupies emotional space that could have become creativity. Every attempt to control another person's opinion steals attention from the only life you will ever truly possess. Imagine reaching the final years of your life and realizing that decades disappeared chasing approval from people whose names you can barely remember. Imagine recognizing that countless evenings were surrendered to resentment while beauty quietly unfolded, unnoticed around you. Imagine discovering that your greatest limitation was never external opposition, but your own unwillingness to release what no longer deserved your energy. The Stoics wanted to awaken people before such regret became unavoidable. That is why they continually returned to the practice of remembering mortality. This was never intended to create fear. It was intended to create clarity. When you remember that life is finite, trivial conflicts lose their fascination. Petty rivalries become absurd. Needless competitions lose their appeal. The desire to prove yourself to everyone begins dissolving. Instead, a new question emerges. If today were my final opportunity to act with wisdom, what deserves my attention? Rarely does the answer involve winning another pointless argument. Rarely does it involve impressing strangers. Rarely does it involve carrying yesterday's resentment into tomorrow. More often, wisdom directs us toward gratitude, meaningful work, honest relationships, disciplined habits, and quiet excellence. These are the pursuits that survive changing circumstances. These are the investments whose returns continue long after applause disappears. Walking away creates space for these higher pursuits. It clears the noise, so purpose can finally be heard. There is a beautiful paradox hidden within Stoic philosophy. the less desperately you seek respect, the more naturally respectable you become. The less you chase approval, the more authentic your presence becomes. The less you fear losing people, the healthier your relationships become. Freedom attracts what desperation repels. People sense genuine inner stability. They recognize the difference between someone acting from conviction and someone acting from insecurity. Real confidence never announces itself because it has nothing to prove. It simply continues doing what is right, regardless of who applauds or criticizes. This is why walking away often unsettles others. They expected emotional dependence. Instead, they encountered self-possession. They expected endless explanations. Instead, they encountered quiet certainty. They expected you to sacrifice your peace to satisfy their expectations. Instead, they watched you choose your character over their approval. Not out of arrogance, not out of revenge, but out of profound respect for the life entrusted to you. There is perhaps no greater Stoic achievement than reaching the point where external chaos no longer dictates internal order. Storms may continue. People may continue misunderstanding you. Unexpected hardships will still arrive. Loss will still visit every human life. Yet beneath these changing conditions remains a mind that has learned where true security resides. In possessions. Not in popularity. Not in comfort. Not in perfect circumstances, but in the unwavering commitment to respond with wisdom, regardless of what fate presents. That commitment cannot be taken from you unless you willingly surrender it. And that is why walking away represents strength. Not because you fear conflict, but because you understand which conflicts deserve your life. Not because you lack courage, but because your courage has become disciplined enough to resist the ego's endless hunger for validation. Not because you have stopped caring, but because you finally care more about preserving your character than protecting your pride. The strongest oak in the forest does not waste its strength resisting every breeze. It remains firmly rooted, bending when necessary, standing when required, never confusing flexibility with weakness. So it is with the Stoic. He does not flee responsibility. He does not avoid necessary hardship. He does not abandon those who genuinely seek truth. But he refuses to become imprisoned by battles that produce no wisdom, relationships that destroy integrity, or opinions that possess no authority over his soul. This is the ultimate freedom. To know that another person's anger does not have to become your anger. Another person's fear does not have to become your fear. Another person's judgment does not have to become your identity. Another person's chaos does not have to become your home. Once this truth settles deeply within you, life changes in quiet but irreversible ways. You begin protecting your mornings instead of beginning each day with outrage. You guard your attention as carefully as others guard their wealth. You become slower to speak, quicker to observe, and far less interested in proving yourself. Your silence gains substance. Your words gain weight. Your actions begin speaking long before your voice ever does. People may misunderstand your distance. Let them. People may mistake your calmness for weakness. Let them. People may invent stories about your choices. Let them. Their opinions belong to them. Your character belongs to you. And in the end, that is the only possession that accompanies you through every triumph, every failure, every beginning, every ending, and every final breath. So the next time life presents you with an argument that steals your peace, a relationship that slowly erodes your dignity, an environment that weakens your values, or a criticism that tempts you to abandon your composure, remember this timeless Stoic lesson. Strength is not measured by how long you remain where your spirit is diminished. Strength is measured by your willingness to leave what no longer serves virtue, because every step away from needless conflict is a step toward inner freedom. Every moment of disciplined silence is a victory over the ego. Every act of letting go creates room for greater wisdom. And every decision to protect your peace rather than your pride brings you closer to the kind of life that no external force can ever truly conquer. Walk away when your character demands it. Walk away when your wisdom recognizes what your ego refuses to see. Walk away not because you are defeated, but because you have finally discovered the greatest victory of all, the victory of mastering yourself.